Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve, K, and Melvin. Marks, how's everyone doing?
How you doing, mate? How you doing? Good.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Kieran. All right,
good.
thank you.
Good. Since the last show, Arsenal are through to the next round of the Champions League after beating Porto on penalties. Yeah, they made it hard for themselves, but they got through. They've also been drawn by Bayern Munich, and Ben White has pulled out of the England squad by choice. And some words from Gareth Southgate, which pretty much throw him under the bus there. We're going to be discussing all these things. First and foremost, Steve.
Yeah.
Champions League through against Porto. A tough game, a tougher game than maybe did you expect?
No, mate. No, I didn't. I always thought it was going to be hard. I can remember when we first spoke on about the lead up to the game and, what we thought. And, yeah, there was a lot of Arsenal fans sort of who was taking it for granted a bit. I was, I said that, look, this team had been in the Champions League for forever. They was a team that was always in it. Used to playing in it. Their players were experienced in it. Hostile stadium, and I knew it was going to be tough. Look, I must admit, I didn't think we'd lose that first game, but we've already spoke about that. I thought, but then in the second leg, they surprised me even more, to be honest with you, Porto, because they had a plan. They come with a plan, and look, they stifled us. They stifled our players, and we just couldn't get going. But to be fair to the boys, we kept going. We're a young side. They had to take a lot through that game, and eventually, Trossard got what was a fantastic goal, and and I think in the end it took a lot of bottle, a lot of guts from that young side to hang in there. And go for extra time, which is a feat in itself in the Champions League, wherever you play, and then to have the balls, to take those penalties and the way that they took them, you can only be proud of them and applaud them. To be fair, because a lot of other young players would have froze and ours didn't, and I think there's a lot to be said at that, but. It was never going to be easy, and it's going to get even harder now. But for me, they did well. It wasn't a great performance on the night, not by a long shot. There was players who just, Saka wasn't on it. Saliba didn't have a great game, but the rest of them, they dug in. That was the story of the evening, really digging in and getting a result. And the performance is when it gets to this stage, for me, is secondary. It's all about finding a way, and our young team found that way, which, really, what, to be fair to them, they've done all season. They've found a way, and that sort of goes in great stead, for the next round, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, and hopefully going onwards. So. Yeah, look, big up to the boys. They've done extremely well, and for one, I'm proud of them.
Melvin, did you think it was Arsenal made hard work of it, especially after they took the lead through the ad of Trossard? Did you think they pushed on and got their second goal?
They're a very good team, this Porto. They are. It reminded me of a George Graham type team. The way they defended, gave nothing away. I mean, we mustn't forget how well and how instrumental Odegaard was in our goal. He made the difference for us. Had he not been playing that night, I don't think we would have got near him, to be honest with you, because we didn't create that much apart from that fabulous goal. And I was watching the game, I thought they should have taken Trossard off 5 minutes before he scored. I thought he was having one of those games sometimes when nothing seems to go right for him. But fair dues, he did brilliantly for the goal. Odegaard did amazingly for the goal. And as you say, Steve, we dug in, and we had to, because they're a tough team. They give you nothing. You've got to fight for every ball. I don't think I could watch them every week the way they perform, and I mean, diving around everywhere. I
Yeah.
thought the first leg, I said that they played like they had no studs in their boots. They kept falling over, and they did a little bit of that the second. I think one of their players went down. They had to go taken off on a stretcher because he had cramp. I mean, come on, I've seen that before. But no.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe that. I was like, roll him off the pitch. He's got cramp. It's embarrassing.
Exactly. But I don't seem to care. For some reason, I don't care. But no, it was. I think the Arsenal of a couple of years ago may not have got through. I think we're not going to get bullied around now. We give it a little bit back as well. So I'm very happy about that. But
do you not think that Arsenal should deploy those tactics when it comes to Europe? I find that. I mean, we haven't moaned about it, but I find that previously up against Barcelona, you'd see the likes of Busquets play that game, gets a tap, goes down. When you but here putting a foul, like a cheeky foul at the right time. We used to come out them games and be like and moan about the referee decision and this and that, and it's like that's European football. Should we not have a bit of that dark arts?
I think it's quite difficult to suddenly turn it on and off, Kieran. Turn it on for Europe and turn it off for the Premier League. So I don't think that'll work. I don't think so. You've got to be a bit cuter in Europe. There's no doubt about that. But you get a bit of dark arts in the Premier League. Look at Brentford the other week. Look at Newcastle the year before that at the Emirates, what they were getting up to. Yeah. It was horrific, really. Not enjoyable. And it's a horrible thing to see. You talk about complaining about the ref, but certain games, you sit there and you go, the ref must know what's going on. He's either stupid or it's his first game, and it ain't his first game. So you wonder, how can he buy that? How can a referee not understand that one team, they're going down literally every minute and the other team are staying on their feet? I mean, you just common sense, like in life. Where's all the common sense gone?
It's not that common. Trust me.
It's not. It's not.
I thought we did though. I thought we did, didn't we? I think I said we was proud of the boys. I mean, and I thought we did show a little bit of their dark arts in that game as well. I thought we matched them. I mean, we wasn't going to the degree we was falling over, and because there wasn't the type of game we wanted to do, and Arsenal ain't like that anyway. But one thing I thought like our players did, and also in the Premier League, but especially the against Porto, they stood up and said, "Look, excuse my French, we ain't going to take your shit. You want to front us, you want to come at us, and then we'll come at you back." We're not the Arsenal of like a few years ago where people used to say, "Oh, you can get at them." You can't get at Arsenal anymore. You can't. Ben White don't take anything. Do you know what I mean? He does the dark arts all the time in the Premier League every week. You see him all the time doing it, and he did it against Porto. Gabriel and Saliba, they're not. They're always there in the thick of it when a player needs sticking up from. Declan Rice is the same. He was like, squaring up to the Porto players at times, and probably the most of all who may have surprised us more than all when it comes to like having something about him is Kai Havertz, because he certainly is someone not to be messed with. And I just absolutely love the way he pushed the manager. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Just get out of the way.
There's a difference, Steve. There's a difference between dark arts and being strong and aggressive. There is a difference, I think. And you come on to the manager. I mean, come on. Is he going to take Arteta to court then on what he's allegedly supposed to have said to him?
Oh, that was sour grapes. 100%.
Oh, sour grapes. 100%.
Like, come on, man. A lot gets said in a football match. Trust me. Like some heinous stuff gets said in a football match. You leave it on the pitch. That's it. Once you're done, you shake hands. You move on. The fact
this weren't even on the pitch. This weren't on the pitch, though. Exactly. No. Can you imagine him shouting across with the 7 or 8 other people from the other team to hear it and the crowd to hear it? No, never going to happen. Never going to happen.
But he's accused other managers in the past of doing the same thing. So it's something.
He's
something
a bit
that
unlucky, isn't he,
he's-
Steve?
he's-
Bit unlucky. Yeah.
he did it with Guardiola, didn't he? He done it with Pep. He accused him of something after saying something to him on the touchline. He did it with Tuchel. He accused him of something in a Champions League game of saying something on the touchline. He's done the same thing with Arteta. Geezer's an idiot, basically, isn't he? I mean, he comes across like a bit of a pillock. I mean, as I said, I just I loved it whenever sort of pushed him out of the way because he was trying to shield the ball. I thought that was brilliant.
Well, you find out very quickly. A big learning curve for the players, for the younger players in the squad, such as Saka, William Saliba. A big learning curve for them, Steve.
Yeah, didn't have good nights at all, mate. But as you said, it's a learning curve, and it's all about going on from there. But Saliba and Saka, never had the best of nights. Saka was probably our worst player on the pitch on the night, full credit can go to the left back there, Wendell, because he literally never give him anything all night long. But yeah, it is a learning curve, and they will learn it from it. Thought Rice played well. But he's been in big European games recently, and he's played for England and stuff, and he comes across as a different type of character than Saka. But one of the people who really grew on the night for me, and I mean, not that he wasn't up in my estimation already, but Martin Odegaard for me was outstanding against Porto. Absolutely outstanding. He's been outstanding now for the majority of this season now. And I said last night on the Super Six that we talk about a lot of conversation about his Saliba world class, his Declan Rice world class, his Saka world class. Well, I think Martin Odegaard's above all of them probably. Probably on the same sort of width as probably in the same place as what Declan Rice is for me. He is something very, very, very special, and he's not even in his prime yet. He ain't even started. He was outstanding, but he is a learning curve, and unbelievable on the night. I thought Havertz was great. I thought Odegaard was great. And we can't forget David Raya, can we? Absolutely, outstanding performance. Not just the penalties, but just all round. Absolutely, since the Luton game, been absolutely up there with the top goalkeepers in the Premier League. So big up to him as well. 2 great saves.
Yeah, definitely. Melvin, a big learning curve for the likes of Bukayo Saka. Many people have said that he's world class, and I think maybe the other night showed that he's still got a lot of development to go in his game.
Yeah, you forget how young he is. No, this is a very, very big night at the Emirates. These players have not played to that level before. With a crowd, the atmosphere, and what comes with it. You're talking about nothing physical here. You're talking about mental, and they've got to get over that barrier. And I think they've got over that barrier or hurdle, if you like. Now they've done it, they've seen it. They move on to the next one. And I'd rather they do it that way round than the Bayern Munich Porto way round. They've done the Porto. That was a special type of game, 2 games. They've got through that. They know what to expect now, and then they just go on for the Bayern Munich one. They're not Saka cannot play brilliantly every game. Sorry. He just got, and he did make contributions on the night. No, he wasn't as good. He made a couple of bad decisions, but all in all, you want him there, don't you? Because you never know what he's going to do. You never know. You just turn a geezer, put it inside, and we score. He's just happy. I'm so happy that he plays for us, even if he's not world class. I'm so happy he plays for us.
Yeah. No, look, I think when the conversation about Saka world class or not world class, I think people do take the term that when someone says he's not world class, I think they take it as a criticism on the player. But when we talk about world class, we're talking about something that's like above special. Yes. So to say that a player's just slightly down from that, is not a criticism of the player.
No,
That's
not at
still
all.
a top player. Like, to say that someone's not world class is not saying he's rubbish. And I fully believe that this is the player who's on his way. But I think that in a game like that, someone like Mo Salah, who I would say was world class, who's been there, done it throughout many years, led up to the world class. He's played at world class levels. Then it's like, no, he's consistently world class every single season. I think plays a different role in that sort of game. And I think Saka will get to that. But for me, it's just his decision making, which is the thing he's going to learn. The thing that's going to take him to the next level. And playing against players of this caliber will get him there. That's how I see it.
I think it's like I think everybody has got their own version of what world class is. And I think people will say Saka's world class because of this reason, and then others will say, some will start, comparing Saka with Zidane or Ronaldinho and something like that, which personally I think is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, but that's just my opinion. Different eras, different times, 80s, 90s, 2000s, because to compare players with them to now, I'm, as I say, I'm probably in the minority, but I don't see how you can possibly do that. I think that's a bit silly to do that, because I don't think anybody's going to probably be like to that standard of legend, ever again. So in my eyes, is there ever going to be a world-class player? I think you look at it as the now. One thing I will say is that, if you ask the question, is Bukayo Saka one of the best right-sided wingers in the world? Then you probably would say, yes, he is.
Yeah.
So does that mean we should be saying he's world class then? Because in this era, at this time, he is one of is the best right-sided wingers in the world. So
that's not how I see it.
People see it differently, mate. I know what you say. It's people see it differently. I mean, but then you say, well, let's start comparing Saka with Ronaldinho, and it's like it's very obscured, isn't it? It's like straight. You can't. Yeah, exactly. What I'm trying to say. It's weird.
I think world class with a footballer is very subjective.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
You can't. I don't think you got a tick list to say, well, he's got to do that. He's got to do that. Therefore, he's world class. That list in my mind doesn't exist. But what I do know, and over the years I've been watching football, and I've seen a few world class players.
And there's a level.
But they're world class, Kieran. But you can't put it into words. You go, that geezer is world class.
Yeah,
you just cannot put it into words, and that's why it's very subjective.
Well, I just sorry, mate. I just quickly, just on your point. I was having a conversation and I was saying, I think Declan Rice is, world class. But then I had the argument come back, but he ain't as good as Zidane, is he? Zidane's, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Do you know? And then the old conversation of world class. I don't want to have the conversation anymore. It seems it's like if that's people's answers back to me, then I'm like, what's the point in ever having this conversation ever again? Because it's silly.
Yeah, but I mean that's an extreme, isn't it?
That's what they do.
To try and compare him to Zidane, but that's just like saying that there was no other players in that era or any other era that weren't as good as Zidane that wouldn't be classed as world class. It's just not the case. Yeah, it's just not the case. Clarence Seedorf, world class. Like you say, Zidane, world class. Patrick Vieira, world class. Like these are world class players. Are they Zidanes? No, they're not. We're talking about Zidane. You say was one of the greatest players of all time. So again, there's levels to it. But for me,
like I said, you know it when you see it. That's how I reckon, Kieran.
Yeah.
You know it when you see it. That's what I reckon.
Yeah, and I think there's a little way to go. But again, there's no rush. What is he, 20, 22, 23? We're talking about slight things, decision making. That's what I'm talking about.
You're talking about Salah, right? Mm-hmm. You're putting him right up there, yeah? When Salah was this age, he probably just about got in the first team of the team he played for before he went to Chelsea. So there's a lot of room there, isn't there, Kieran? A lot of
100%. 100%. There's so much room. There is so much room. And if you look at his goal scoring record, if you look at in times where you're saying he's not playing well, he's still putting the stats on the board. Like, that's very important. This is all building up to it. His resilience it's all part of it. Look, give it another season in the Champions League when Arsenal are playing relatively rubbish and he's picking up by the scruff of the neck, smashing in goals, and no one can stop him. I don't think there's going to be any question about it. I think that everyone would all agree. Another big bit of news. I mean, we spoke about it last night in the Super Six, but since then, there's been a little bit more since then. Ben White has pulled himself out of the England squad. I want to go to you on this one, Melvin. What was your thoughts when you heard that Ben White had made himself unavailable for the England squad?
I thought, good luck to him. It's his choice. He knows the repercussions. He knows that he may not play for England again under this manager. But I don't think that he would have played for this manager anyway. There's loads of people in front of him who are injured. So once they get back, he knows he ain't going to get a chance. What does he need to sit on a bench for a couple of weeks? He'd be better off chilling out, being with his family, and getting ready for the real tournament with Arsenal rather than England. So I don't see any problem with that at all. You know, he didn't make threats. Either you play me or I'm leaving, or I'm better than you lot. None of that. He knows the form. I'd rather not. Thank you so much, but I'd rather not. Good luck to him.
All right, Steve. A lot has been made. Obviously, the news from the Athletic has come out about Steve Holland and the issues that they have with each other. But I feel like that's kind of been dismissed a little bit by a lot of people, and the general talk is Ben White not wanting to join up with the England squad because of Arsenal commitments and the fact that they're in the latter stage of the Champions League and they're going for a title race, and also the fact that when he has gone away with England, he hasn't got game times. There's a lot of people focus on those two issues. Do you think? Do you think it's fair for them to focus on that? Are they filling in the gaps, or do you feel like there is actually something in the Steve Holland issue?
No, you're right. They literally are just ignoring it, aren't they? It's not getting mentioned at all anywhere by anybody.
And then they're saying things like Ben White doesn't like football, which
it's all about.
He's never said that.
Yeah, it's all about Ben White's pulled out.
Yeah,
it's not. It's like Ben White's pulled, and the fact that the Athletic has done an article on it, you know, sort of, you know, going through it with like a tooth comb on all the actual facts, what happened in guitar and why Ben White has pulled out of it, and you know, and that he did have, you know, a row with Steve Holland because he called him out in front of all the players. Yeah, and Ben White did not like that one little bit, and they had a big row. And by all accounts, Gareth Southgate stuck up for obviously Steve Holland. He said, I don't care. I've had enough. I want to go home. But you're right. Nobody wants fans, rival fans. That's not even been mentioned. It's all about, Ben White's out of order. You know, who does he think he is? You know, Ben White don't want to play for England. He should never wear the England shirt again. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. You don't see anywhere the fact that, you know, there's this big donut right over in there who's decided to call out and you know, a player and any, you know, red-blooded male who would, you know, would have happened the same thing too. You know, you would think that they would absolutely do the same, but they're just ignoring it. And I'm with Melvin. You know, I'm you know, if Ben White don't want to do it, he don't want to do it. And to all those people who are like saying about, he should never play for England again and blah blah blah. I mean, look, I don't think that's the case. I don't think he ever wants to play under Southgate and Holland again. I mean, I don't think he gives a damn about playing under them again. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. And I'm pretty sure that if another manager comes in and they did pick him, then I'm sure he would. But at the same time, he may be disappointed, but I don't think he'll lose sleep over it if he never played for him again.
The funny thing is, Steve, is that Southgate obviously mentioned his name and he said another player also refused to play. Wouldn't mention his name though, did he?
Yeah, I did.
Why is that?
I find that a bit odd. I found that one a bit odd. They even
Either
mentioned
don't
it.
say it, don't mention that another player didn't want to play
Yeah.
for England, or mention it, but you got to mention his name.
Yeah,
Why are you
I'm glad you
protecting
brought that up.
him? You're protecting him, but you're not protecting Ben White.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm glad you brought it up because there was a lot of cryptic messages in Gareth Southgate's press conference the other day. One of them, like you said, he mentioned that there was a player in the team that also didn't. So it's almost like he was trying to help out Ben White, but then didn't give him the full sort of help by giving the name. And then on top of that, he went on to actually say or imply that Ben White should probably man up a bit by basically saying that things aren't always easy. Things are sometimes hard. You've just got to try and push through and get over it. And then he went on to say as well, I'm not in a championship race like Arsenal are, and I'm not in the latter stages of the Champions League, never have been. Which implies that he doesn't want to play for the England team because Arsenal are doing well in the league and could potentially win the league and the Champions League. I thought it was a bit underhand.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I wouldn't even blame him if White didn't want to do it for that. If that was the only reason he wanted to pull out because he thought that, I don't want to get injured, I don't want to travel halfway around the world, I don't want to, risk. I've got Man City in a few weeks. I've got 2 games against Bayern Munich. Do you know what I mean? Last thing I want to do, maybe Mikel Arteta said like, Gabriel hasn't gone, has he? Martinelli's obviously not gone. Jesus hasn't gone. People coming. Nunes has all of a sudden come back. Haaland's coming home. Do you know what I mean? There's a little trait here, about people dropping out of squads left, right, and centre because from Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Would he? Should he be surprised by that? That these. I mean, because look, I think Garth made a good point. Last night. Look, what England was it like 10, 15 years ago? It was the pinnacle of your career. It's not anymore. England's not the pinnacle of the career anymore.
Why, Steve? Because a lot of players a few years ago, not that long ago, were in the first team at a Premier club, getting a decent wage. They go become an England international, and their wages goes through the roof. So that was one of the, not the only. That was a big reason playing for England. Your ability to earn big money just goes through the roof, and all of a sudden the spotlight's on you, and other clubs learn about you if they don't know about you already. Things like Mount, who went to Man United for 65 whatever it was million, things like that. Had he not been played for England and played exactly the same type of football for Chelsea, I don't think we'd have gone United for 65. Honestly, don't. So to Man United, it's just England. I've watched England for so long, and I've got to be honest, my heart's not with England when it's to do with Arsenal. It's Arsenal first. But you have these questions. Would you rather England win the European Championship or Arsenal win? Blah. I'd rather Arsenal.
Same here.
Every day.
We got that question last night. I wanted the day off of work, so I picked England World Cup. Just before we move on, Mel, do you think that Ben White could be a bit more, slightly more aggrieved because it wasn't his footballing ability that was being questioned; it was his personality and his character. The fact that Ben White is Ben White, and any Arsenal fan that knows Ben White or sees any interviews, he's a very kind of nonchalant kind of character. He's very chilled out, relaxed, a little bit sarcastic. So, do you feel like Steve Holland's seen that, doesn't rate his character, and it's because it's not something for me? It's not something where you'd meet someone, go, I don't like him, have a pop. It's something that would have stewed on it. He would have stewed on. He would have not liked the way Ben White has reacted a few times, and then he's popped off. Do you think that it's that rather than it's the fact that he's being judged as a player?
It might be. I mean, it could be. But the only thing on the other side of the coin, I think Ben White is doing exactly the right thing, ignoring the geezer. Steve Who, this is the most famous this geezer's been. So so that's what I think. So it's a bit of Steve Who. What's he say? It's a country, isn't it? I'll get it in a minute. And that's it. So I don't think Ben White loses much sleep about Steve, or whatever his name is. I don't think he does. Just get on with. If he starts having a go or says something out, in the press or anything like that, he's going to lose. Whatever he says, even if it's correct, he's going to lose. The best thing is to don't even think about it. The guy's a non-entity. He's nothing to do with him anymore because he ain't going to play in the same national team as is the number 2 or whatever. So just forget about him. He's a non-event as far as
another thing that gets to me a little bit as well is that I think there was a few squads that where it was like, what, Ben White ain't in it? It's one of the best right backs in the Premier League. Yeah, this geezer's like playing for Arsenal every week. He's probably one of our top 3 players last season. He's not in the squad. He's not. Well, who's in the squad? Harry Maguire, Kieran Trippier, Lewis Colwell, and you like Fikayo Tomori. If I'm Ben White, I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And now he's probably come out, oh yeah, Ben, we need you, you're playing great. Everybody's going on about Ben White again. You go, oh, I can't ignore him this time. Probably thought, you gotta do one, mate. Do you know what I mean? So, especially with everything else that's going on around it, he's probably thought, nah, Arsenal's my thing. I love Arsenal. We're in a title race. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I need to be my best for them. Trancing around with England with 2 people I can't stand is not for me. So, yeah, no, it's probably something.
Let's quickly go on the comment section. He said, James speaking about earlier, comparing Rice and Zidane is stupid. Completely different play styles and positions. Be like saying Zidane is good. But he wasn't as good as Buffon as a goalkeeper.
Try telling the people you have an argument with that, James.
Galvo says Southgate linked with the United job.
Please.
And said, I really love listening and supporting these smaller channels. I'm learning a lot. Well, thank you very much for supporting us, Sensei. Rate that. They're very God, everyone's waxing lyrical about us. Thank you very much.
Fist pumps.
Southgate thinks it's a great move for all concerned. Hopefully it works out and a big contract. I think that'll be a big day. Melvin has a fanboy. There we go. Love that.
What? Okay. Melvin is a fanboy?
No, has a fanboy. Has a fanboy. And before we go, Rory Jennings said that Ben White should never play for England again, and that when a new manager comes in, every player should have a clean slate except for Ben White, and he should be not considered for England team ever again because you can't just turn it on and off.
Can I ask a question, please? Are they still going to TalkSport?
They are.
Are they really? I'm surprised.
Yeah, they're getting the fan channels to run the shows now, aren't they? Rory Jennings, Mark Goldbridge, Flex. They're all on there now. Right. The quarterfinal.
He's Chelsea. He's Chelsea boy, isn't he? Like again,
yeah.
They all are Chelsea.
Well, the quarterfinal draw came the other day. Bayern Munich versus Arsenal, Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid versus Manchester City, and Paris Saint-Germain versus FC Barcelona. Big games, 4 quality games, and Arsenal are drawn against what used to be considered a nightmare. But this time round, fans, Steve being one of them, wanted Bayern Munich. He wanted his revenge, and now he's got it. But Harry Kane could have something to say about that as well. This man has only scored more goals against the likes of Leicester City and Everton. His historical record against Arsenal, he scored 14 goals in his time at Spurs. Could he add to that with Bayern Munich? Steve, you wanted Bayern Munich. You got Bayern Munich. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well pleased with mate. Well pleased we got Bayern Munich. There was a lot of people. The questions were getting asked before the draw came out. Who did we want? Who did we want to play? Obviously, I didn't want Man City. I didn't want Real Madrid yet. PSG, Barca. PSG, Barca, and Bayern probably for me all on the same type of line. Didn't want Atletico. Dortmund I would have taken, but yeah, look, that I'm still having nightmares over that 10-2, and Arsenal are the best equipped now, and probably that they've ever been since the team that we had the Invincible in, to go and revenge that 10-2. So that's why I wanted Bayern Munich. I think we're better than them. I think man to man, I think we're a better team. We're a better side. Look, it's going to be, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. But I think we can take them. And whoever you're going to get out of that lot was going to be tough. Whoever you was going to draw on. And yeah, just from a personal point of view, Bayern Munich were the team I wanted, and I had a big smile when they come out the app. But look, they've got some, they've got some great players. They've got some really good players. They've got Neuer, Alphonso Davies. Obviously they got Harry Kane, Musiala, Joshua Kimmich, just to name a few. But they're all sort of like, the back end of their careers. Do you know what I mean? They're all getting on a little bit now. They're not at the. I think it's Tony Kroos. Well, he's Real Madrid, isn't he? Kroos, isn't he? But no, and I think we can take them. I honestly think we can take them. Look, we're going to have to watch Kane. For me, he's the best striker in the world. Without any shadow of a doubt, right now, and we're going to have to be careful of him. But look, I'm looking forward to it. There's no fans at the Emirates, so we should have a good advantage. I think if we go to the Emirates, I think if we can beat them by 2 goals, Kears, I think if we can come back with 3-1 or a 2-0, I think that's what I'm looking at. If we get that, I'm pretty confident we can go through and win to the semi-finals, and then it'd be Real Madrid or Man City, and and then it gets like that. But I'm just happy we're here, mate. Anything is a bonus. I said at the beginning of the season, like where would you want? I said quarterfinals because you could get anybody. Look who we could have got. So yeah, just really excited now. I can't wait for that first leg, and hopefully we can get it over in the first leg.
Yeah, hopefully so. Melvin, Steve just ran out a few names there. Harry Kane, Thomas Muller, Manuel Neuer, Joshua Kimmich, Jamal Musiala, Eric Dyer, boo, Alexander Pavlitov, Leroy Sane, Alphonso Davies, Gullit, Gnabry, Coleman, Upamecano. Are some Arsenal fans underestimating Bayern Munich? Or are they showing them some respect after what was a very tough game and a massive reality check against Porto?
I think that Bayern Munich, you can't underestimate them. But I don't know. Is Dyer in their first 11?
Yeah, he is actually.
He is, yeah.
And on that basis alone, I think we've got every chance.
Yeah, and Upamecano's not great. He's got a mistake.
A bit clumsy.
He's a bit of a lump, isn't he? But it's a shame we're not got the second leg at home. Another, one of those, Emirates nights. However well we play the first leg at home, and that it's not over, whatever the score, But when you play the second leg at home, there's an extra special feel about it. Mm-hmm. You're there, and you're going to see the result at the end of the game. Gnabry's still playing from the big rumours that he was going, wasn't it? End of last season.
Still there. It's very hard to. It's very hard to leave Bayern Munich. They're a club that if they want you ain't going nowhere. And a lot of players don't really want to go.
I think if we beat them, however well we're playing in the league, I think if we beat Bayern Munich, people will then sit up and go, hold on a minute, that weren't expected. Let's face it. I don't think too many people outside not in the UK perhaps, but from people from other European countries, everyone fancies, I would imagine, Bayern Munich. They are the name. They're one of the big names. And if we take their scalp, then all of a sudden people will wake up to us and go, hold on, well, how'd they beat them? What happened there? So let that happen and let's see the people's reaction. It's going to be 2 very nervous games, as it always is, but even more so, just a little notch up now, because A, you're a little bit closer to the final, and B, with all due respect to Porto, and they were a good team, not particularly football. Well, they did play a bit of football when they fancied it, but they were a tough team, Porto. This is a little bit higher up, another, as you say, Kieran, another level. Mm-hmm. To get that, to beat Porto was very good, because all it means is we go to the next round. If we beat Bayern Munich, it means more than just us getting to the next round. It means we've beaten Bayern Munich. Yeah. And with our history, that means a lot, in my opinion.
Do you think that'll be do you think that would be big for us, confident-wise, mentality-wise, if we take a scalp like Bayern Munich? I know people would dismiss it because it's not the same. Bayern Munich have not been at the level we're expecting, but for us to have that sort of scalp under your name, Steve, it'd be big for our mentality and the development of some of the younger players.
Yeah, but I think you could say that about any of those teams we could have drawn, mate. If you take away Dortmund, if we're playing any of those other teams, it's the same. It would do the same thing. If we were playing Atletico, PSG, Barca, Real Madrid, or Man City, we would be having the same conversation, wouldn't we? We'd be saying, "Well, if we took Madrid, people would have to, start looking at us." So, I don't think. Look, I mean, Bayern Munich, not the Bayern Munich of old. I think we have to, look at that. They've got beat by some ridiculously easy sides in the Bundesliga this year. We haven't. We've beaten Liverpool. We've beaten Man City. We're top of the hardest league in the world.
People will point out the losses to West Ham and Fulham, though.
Yeah, they will, but it's football. But I mean, with Barcelona and their pomp, I can pick out like a game where they've lost in the season where they shouldn't have done. So, but I think the most important thing is how you bounce back from those things like that and show your bottle and Arsenal certainly have. And look, as far as I genuinely believe Arsenal are favourites to win it. I mean, I'll be like.
You mean the tie? A tie? You mean the tie, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We should win. We should win. We should beat Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
And the bookies are making us favourites, and the bookies are really wrong. And when you look at the two teams in their, in their respective, leagues, you would have to say that Arsenal were the better team with and favourites for it. Yeah, I fancy us. I think I think we can get at them. I think it's going to be a totally different game to Porto. I think playing a team like Bayern they won't sit back like Porto. They won't be doing the dark art. I think they'll suit us better than Porto. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, we'll score more goals against Bayern, and we will look better as more ourselves, like how we are in the Premier League, than we did against Bayern and we did against Porto. Because Bayern ain't going to sit back. They're going to want to come out and play a bit. Do you know what I mean? And that will suit us because we love that. And all the talk recently is about their defence, and it ain't great. Their defence ain't great. Alphonso Davies, look, he's a speed merchant. He's great going forward, but he's not the best defensively. Kimmich, he plays at right back. A lot of people saying he's more. He inverts more, and he's better in the midfield, and he should be there. Of Meccano and Dyer, distinctly average, and then you've got Manuel Neuer, who's we all know is world class, but he's getting on a bit now, and our strikers, if we're on our day and we're on form, coming away with a 2-3-1 win from the is more than possible. I don't think we should be fearing that. I don't think it's like, ooh, Bayern. Do you know what I mean? Bayern will not want to play us. They will not want to be played. When Arsenal come out the air, I think they would have gone, oh, no, I would have rather played PSG or Barca or like that. So, yeah, I'm going in with chest in this one. So, I want revenge. So, yeah.
You know what we might be missing here? The point is it'd be nearly 3 weeks without us playing a game. This game might depend on how we play against Man City. It'd be our first game for 3 weeks. If we hit the ground running like we did in January and go on that fantastic run, then I think make things a lot easier for us and more straightforward. If we stutter against City, I think they have a big effect on us. I really do. I think it's all about momentum now, this part of the season.
What about if Arsenal stutter but get a point at the Etihad? Is that still a good point? It's still
a very good point, yeah. I don't want to take a point now. Normally, I'd take a point against teams above us away from home because of our bad record. But
you're not taking a point against City at the Etihad?
I'd take a point, but I'll take a point. No, I'll take a point. I'm
take that point.
Which I never thought I'd say.
Take a point.
But I think we could beat them. I think if we take the game to them and don't let them get 80% possession like they do with every other team, because we've done it against them a couple of times, not at the Etihad, I might say. If we can transfer that to the Etihad, the way we played them at home the last few seasons, we've got every chance of actually beating them. Because, like you say with Bayern Munich, I don't think City's defence is that good because they've never had to defend under pressure from teams. They have to defend sometimes when teams break against them, but they're very good at stopping that. When they've taken pressure, when they've got to be like we've got the ball outside their box and we're playing it around, I don't think they're as good as people make out. I might be wrong. So if we take the game to them and show them not no respect, but think we're as good, if not better than them, mental wise, I think we could do it. So would I take a point now? Yeah, probably. But I still want to
ask me after the game.
Yeah, but ask me after 100 minutes. But I just think I just a feeling inside me that we can actually do it, which I haven't thought for a very long time.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve, if Arsenal beat City at the Etihad, do we win the league?
No. It's not. No, it's certainly not. You know, if we beat City, the league's not done for me. You know, if we beat City, still 9 games to go. Still 9 to go, and that's why I've never been in this camp, and I'm fed up like trying to sort of explain myself to people. Right, all this nonsense that you have to beat. You've got to beat Man City. You've got to beat Liverpool.
No, you don't.
You've got to beat these teams, and if you beat them teams, you win the league. Absolute nonsense. No. Nonsense.
Jose Mourinho didn't. You used to just get a draw.
Exactly.
You used to beat everyone else and make sure he didn't lose against the teams around him.
Exactly. Well, we're beating Liverpool. We're drawing against Liverpool. We've already beat City. So if we're taking, like you asked me the question, do we beat City again? So if we did beat them, that would mean we'd beat City twice and got 4 points over Liverpool. Does that mean the league's over? Absolute nonsense. Nowhere near over. So I don't get this argument of like you come to it, and that's exactly the same thing. If Man City was playing Arsenal, if you beat Arsenal home and away, it doesn't mean you're going to win the league. If you go and beat Liverpool, it doesn't mean you're going to win the league. You got to win the other games. There's 34 other games in the league you got to win as well, or do well in. So, but yeah. No, I don't, mate. I don't think it'll be over if we win it. It's like Melvin said, the momentum would be great. Momentum's always a good thing. Mm-hmm. Do I think it will affect the Bayern game if we lose against or I don't know. I like to think that this team's got a little bit about them.
It does seem that way.
I've seen us lose games or play bad one week or look a bit dodgy and then come back and it's like bosh. Come out the traps firing and blown teams away. So I'm not in the same camp there where that if we lose against City, then we're in trouble against Bayern. I think you could turn that, you could easily twist that and say if we lost against City, Bayern would maybe even be in more trouble than we was as if we're, because then they'd be getting an angry Arsenal coming at you, and to prove everybody wrong, which they've been doing all season, I'd like to say. Do you know what I mean? They've been doing that. So, but simple question, mate. I don't think it'll be over. Still a long way to go after the City game.
Gareth says Bayern are dangerous. League has gone for them. League has gone for them, and they can rotate the league and try and peak twice for us. Not a luxury we have. It's where we want to be, though. Last 8. I agree. I agree. I don't think it's Bayern Munich. They're not writing off the league yet. They are not writing off that league. There's no way they're looking at that league. And what are they, 8 points ahead? They're not. They're still not looking at that and writing it off. It's Bayern Munich. They will go until it's mathematically impossible. And he says, for me, the 9-game winning streak this Arsenal team has played into a position where there's no must win at City, and that's progress. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I was original Mel fanboy before it was cool. It's true. It is true. A couple of players are coming back now, Steve. Urian Timber, one of them. Thomas Partey is also a player who's not gone on international duty. Can they play their part in the final few games of the season?
Oh, yeah, mate. Definitely. Especially, well, both of them can. Timber and Partey, they could come back and prove integral. I mean, I don't think they'll come in and either of them will start straight away. That would be silly. You obviously try to keep your strongest team. So really, at the moment, that's Kior. So hopefully blend Timber in and Partey in with minutes, and hopefully they can make a sort of like an impact after 70 minutes for the rest of the season, because I still think both of them still need to be managed through the season, not to start getting them, putting them in for 4 games. I don't think Arteta's going to do that. I think he'll stick with like the team that we're seeing now. Obviously,
bit of consistency.
Barring injuries, obviously, of course.
Yeah.
But when you've got people like Partey, Timber, Jesus, sitting on the bench there. I mean, it's unbelievable, the squad now that we got. Vieira, Smith Rose, and I mean, there's probably names I'm forgetting, but yeah, they can definitely come in. They can definitely make an impact. If we can get Partey back to some kind of form that we know he can be, which, to be fair to him, we've seen it. We haven't seen it enough in an Arsenal shirt for me, and that's sad. Because of injuries, he may end up moving on at the end of the season. But yeah, these two could become integral, as part of this winning either the Champions League or the Premier League title. Yeah, I'm excited to see them both back. But like I said, I don't think Arteta's going to start throwing them in for 90 minutes or anything like that. I think there'll be sort of bench players, and they'll come in if there's injuries, but and play 90 minutes and stuff. But I get the feeling that they will both be used as in 20 minutes, 25 minutes for the rest of the season. That's what I think.
Mel, Jesus is chomping at the bit to get minutes, and Thomas Partey, we know when he's fit and in form, he's one of the best midfielders in the league. These two players, and even Julian Timber, do you think they can play their part in the final run in the season?
I think they play their part with Timber and Partey. Most certainly Partey I'm talking about now. I don't think he'll start very many games for us, but he'll be that player when it's 20 minutes to go, the player that we might be winning and we just want to do a bit of game management. He's perfect for that.
Yeah.
I kicked the ball out of play. What was that all about?
I saw that the other week. Yeah,
come on. He's not played.
Well, what they're going to do?
He's not played
since
September, Steve.
No, Steve.
I've played since September.
What you didn't realise, one of the fans
that was weird.
No,
it was weird. Come on, that was weird. That was strange.
No. If you look again, one of the fans in the stand had an Arsenal shirt on.
Oh, come on.
So that's the excuse I'm making for him. That could be the only excuse that he kicked it to that player. He didn't realise the geezer never had. He couldn't see his shorts or boots, but he saw the shirt and thought, "Yeah, no, he's got a bit of space. He's got a bit of space. I'll give it to him." Yeah,
I don't know if it was a true picture or it was a joke picture, but someone had put something on X of Mikel Arteta when he actually done that, and his face was like, he was looking at staring in his face to say, but I think it might have been photoshopped or something like that.
You've noticed a lot this season. We've been making Arteta's been making his substitutes a lot quicker, like 20, 25 minutes to go, which gives all the squad a bit of break. They don't have to play for 100 minutes every week, every game now. They can play for 70, 65, 70 or 75. And it just that little bit gives them a little bit more freedom and chance to just chill out for a bit. It's because it's such a high intensity, the way we play the game.
Yeah.
That I'm surprised he manages to keep Odegaard on for so long, certain games, because he runs his socks off.
Yeah,
Odegaard.
He does
get enough credit for that.
I know he brings him off for every so often, but certain games, he just keeps him on. Yeah. Where does he get his energy from? Because if you're at the game and you watch it, you don't realise the running he does. So much of it.
You see it.
I think it's more about trust, and I think he needs to, which I accused him of last season. And we have to be fair, we have seen more of other players, but I think it's just about trust and not making sure there's not that drop off when he does come off. I think we had that now. We've got enough, a good enough squad to be able to take Martin Odegaard off for the last 15, 20 minutes and bring on players like Fabio Vieira. But again, on the flip side, availability is key. They need to be available so that Martin Odegaard can come off, because otherwise we go from having a full squad, who's going to play, can he get minutes, to, it doesn't matter, he's out for 2 months. And we need to find that balance, and maybe bringing in new players and getting rid of some of those players who are consistently injured at the end of the season.
Jesus looked sharp though, didn't he? Jesus looked sharp when he came on.
He's hungry. He's hungry. He's looking at Kai Havertz and seeing him in his position. He wants his position back. You've got a hungry striker. And then look, it's good for us. It's good for us. I don't think there's any reason to rush Timber back. Let him sit out for the rest of the season. Stu says Arsenal need to review their medical system. They've butchered many players. Of the players outside the start 11, who do you see being critical in the running, Steve?
What did say? Who's going to be? I think someone we've already mentioned. Gabriel Jesus there, especially if we need a goal. You always need someone to come off the bench and get us a goal. So I think Gabriel Jesus. I mean, if Havertz is going to be the Arteta's man, for the last 9 games or whatever, Jesus I think is going to be well up there. And I think he can be critical, and Timber as well. And we've already mentioned Thomas Partey in that midfield there as well. Especially if like Jorginho starts to tire, we're going to need someone, because he's been brilliant, Jorginho, but he does tire in games.
He
and
does.
What Arsenal tend to do is drop Havertz into the number 8 position again, and then he's not really that. We don't want that. So if we can have a sort of a straight swap of Partey for Jorginho when in the last 20-25 minutes of games, fantastic. Zinchenko as well. Do you know what I mean? Experience, with Kior, to come in and replace him. There's going to be the good thing about Arsenal at the moment. We've got such a strong squad, and we're getting all our players. I mean, they're all going to have to need to play, to play a part. And I think for the rest of the season, I think in the Champions League, hopefully we'll go further. They all will, play their part. When like Martinelli's, or Trossard's playing, they're going to be so many now. We're blessed at the moment, Arsenal, with so many players who can come and do a job.
Same question for you, Melv. Outside of the starting 11, who do you think is going to be critical for this running?
I tell you who could be, and we haven't mentioned him, is Tommy
Asu.
Because if anything happens to our left or right back, he's the man. Mm-hmm. He slots straight in. We know what he can do. He's a fantastic. I think he's a very good player, Tommy.
Yeah.
Both defensively, I think he's excellent. He's probably our best defending fullback. Quite close to it. Yeah, I think he is. And going forward, he's fine as well. So yeah, I think he could. He's a player that I think could make a difference if we're unlucky enough to get an injury at fullback. He'd just slot in, and you won't see any. There won't be a downturn on that, not at all. And the others you've mentioned, I think that's fine. There's some that we haven't mentioned, and that tells you something what we probably think about them. So
Smith Rowe, Nketiah, Reece Nelson.
Well, I love Smith Rowe. I'm talking about the Nelsons, and I'm talking about the Eddies. We haven't, and even Vieira, I don't think he's ready yet. In all fairness, to make a difference to our challenge, I don't think if I suddenly see him come off the bench with 20 minutes to go, I'm thinking, just what we need. It just doesn't happen for me at the moment. It could do, but for me, it doesn't happen at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Smith. I think Smith Rowe's timed up.
It's a shame because I like him a lot. I think
he's not. You only have to go back in the last few games. He's not even getting on the pitch. Arsenal will make 4 or 5 substitutes. They'll have 2-3 games a week, and he don't get on. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
He was not even getting. I mean, and Eddie come on the other night. I mean, he didn't do anything, did he?
I think he knows his time's up. I think his persona, his body language over the last 6 or 7 games, it doesn't seem like he's. It seems like the writing's on the wall. I don't know whether a conversation's been had, but there was a game he came on after not playing for a good few weeks. It was actually after a game where we made a lot of subs and they didn't even bring him on, and then he came on the following game, and it felt like he didn't want to be there. And I've not seen him do anything since. So yeah, I think his time is done.
I'll tell you what as well. Sorry, mate. Yeah, no, that's okay. Go on, mate. No, I was just to say it's no excuse that in recent weeks, there's been contracts talks and contracts talks going on, because a lot of people have been saying to me, "Oh, you can't get rid of them, because they're Highland boys and they're English, and you have to have your quota." But we got Koza Dubry, Nanweri, Roll Waters. Lewis Skelly. Yeah. You got four Englishmen there who are all coming in to replace your 100%. Eddie, Emil Smith-Rowe, and your Reece Nelson. So all that talk Arsenal fans out there were saying about the A-Lim thing, the England quota. Just think about who's coming in behind. They're in the squad now. Yeah,
definitely. A lot of news has been coming together about the likes of Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Goicoechea, previously of Coventry, very, very good time in the English second tier, scoring 21 goals and getting 10 assists in 46 games, and the previous season as well, a very good season, 17 games and 5 assists. You can see the progression there. I think this season he's got something ridiculous.
36 goals in 36 goals in 38 games, I think it is.
Yeah, and it's so in the Liga, he's got in the Liga Portugal, he's got 24 games, 22 goals, 10 assists. But that's a joke, absolute joke. And then he's got a couple of games in the cup, goals in the cup as well. And he's in 9 matches, he's got 5 goals in the Europa League. Clearly a player of some pedigree, English. Played in England, done very well in England, shows that the level of championship is very high. Steve, do you know much about this story?
Yeah, I do actually. Arsenal scouts have been watching him on a number of occasions. I think at least 5. They was in they watched him the weekend against Boavista. I was privileged in giving that information, so made a point of keeping an eye on actually the game when it kicked off at 8 o'clock on the Sunday, and how he did. And Arsenal scouts would have been obviously pleased again, because the guy scored a hat-trick while they was watching him. He's a beast. He's a beast. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen this guy play, just watch him. He's massive. He's strong. He's unstoppable. He's got everything. He can score headers, left foot, right foot, and the power, the pace of the man is unreal. I see him score a goal the other week where he picked the ball up in his own half and just ran past about 5 or 6 of these. This is a centre forward. And he just ran through them, and took it around the goalkeeper and put it in the back of the net. He's special. He's special. He'll cost a lot of money. He's got a release clause of €100 million, which is about £82 million. But if you want the best, and Arsenal want him and Arteta wants him, then Arteta don't get it wrong, does he? So look, we'll see. But he can play on the left. He can play on the right. He's just an all-round striker, and Arsenal ain't going to be the only people after him. He's, as I say, he's got a release clause, which probably means he definitely will leave. I just hope he's my new man. He's the one I hope Arsenal get above Osimhen, above Tony, above all these other ones, Watkins and all that. He's a good age, 25. Yeah, awesome footballer. If anybody who hasn't had a watch, go and have a watch. He's special. Yeah, we'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens. It's going to cost a lot of money.
Another player who's been linked with Arsenal is Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig. 6'5", young striker. A little bit more information on that one, Steve.
Yeah, again, very not similar players. Not as experienced as Guy Orikes, but again, another player that Arsenal have watched. Again, another player who's got a release clause, a lot cheaper than the Orikes. I mean, his release clause, I believe, is around €52 million. So he would, but again, similar to, he's probably not as prolific, probably not got as much to his game, but certainly someone who's he's young, this kid. He's only about 19, 20. I mean, I might be wrong in that. I'm not 100%, but I think he's young. He has got just got into the, is it the Leipzig side? Because he was being kept out of it. So yeah, but again, another one that Arsenal have watched. How far ahead is I don't know, but he's definitely someone that Arsenal like, and he's that they're looking at.
And any more news on Zubimendi, a player that they're talking about potentially taking over from Thomas Partey, who looks like he could be Arsenal career could be coming to an end at the end of the season.
Yeah, look, Martin. I mean, Arsenal have loved this player for a long while now. I mean, they wanted to buy him in was it last summer they wanted to get him, and they nearly bought him, and in the end it was just that they couldn't afford what Sociedad were asking for him. But look, Arsenal got a really good relationship with Sociedad now. They've sent a few players. Kieran Tierney's out there. I've heard recently that Thomas Partey is also someone who they like. So that was a little bit of a coincidence when I heard that. My ears pricked up, considering Zubimendi plays for the same team and Partey and him playing the same position. But yeah, someone who's probably will cost, again, another release clause. Again, round about 52. This one's a steal, I think. This guy, Spanish international, been there, done it. Very experienced. He is Jorginho 10 years younger, if you like, or 8 years younger. He's that player, but with pace, and he can.
Yeah, apparently can bosh it around as well. So another player linked with Arsenal. What position do you think Arsenal need in the summer? So where do you think they should put their focus?
It's got to be midfield, isn't it? Because I don't think Partey, even if he stays with us, you're not going to get a full season out of him. Mm-hmm. Jorginho, I don't think you're going to get a full season out of him. I think he does a great job, Jorginho. He's done a great job the last, half a dozen or so games. But I think we need someone next to Rice. We need someone to help with the running, Rice, because he does so much running, Rice. You need someone with a bit of, a bit of an engine as well. So I think midfield for me is so important, because with a good midfield, it just helps our defence anyway. As good as our defence is, you need that protection, no matter how good your defence is. So if you have him and a very good midfielder plus Rice, then you might be cooking. Then after that, you could be cooking on gas after that. Let's face it. And our forwards can score goals. Do we need a centre forward? Spend 100 million? I don't know if we're allowed to now with what's going on. The funny thing is, the one that used to play for Coventry, I saw him play. I think it was the end of last season or the season before. I can't remember when it was. Mm-hmm. And he looked class above. I thought, how come he's playing for Coventry? Didn't know anything about him. I thought, wow, he looked good. And then he went for 20 million, not from Coventry, because that wasn't his club, was it? He was on, I think he was on loan, wasn't he? At Coventry. It wasn't, I don't think he played for, I don't think they owned him. Anyway, how can you buy a player for 20 million and put a release clause in for 100 million straight away? Could they see in the future or something? It doesn't make sense.
They do that in those countries, don't they? But look,
as much as that,
are you really going to pay 100 million for him? Like,
yeah. No, I don't think so.
I think that there's talk that they could get him less than the release clause.
Yeah,
I heard that. Was it today? Someone I was talking to today. They could even get him a lot less than what the release clause is.
If they want to be serious about getting some money for him, you can't be talking about a player playing in the Portuguese league for 100 million.
After after less than a season.
Silly. We can't be getting into them sort of conversations.
Yeah. Just quickly on the Zubimendi thing. I don't know. the interesting thing is that Zubimendi's a 6.
Mhm.
He's a number 6.
Yeah,
he's not
which is what we need.
He's not an 8. So
No, we need a 6.
yeah. So Declan Rice will be the 8, obviously.
Yeah, which is what I see Declan Rice as the 8 anyway. I think if you play him in the 6, it's kind of restricting what he can offer. And I think he can become more of a player. I think his ceiling is higher in that 8 position. And finally, before we finish, another player linked with Arsenal and another release clause. Spanish and Atletico Bilbao, or Spanish international Atletico Bilbao winger Nico Williams, a player very highly regarded in Spain. Arsenal apparently have to pay 55 million euros to secure the services of the player. Steve, do you know much about this story?
Well, I know about the story. I know the player, and I've heard that there's interest. But my people have not gone strong on this. They've sort of like said, we're hearing what other people are saying, but from what they're hearing, they're sort of saying that we're not hearing that much concrete news about him. It just seems to be that Nico Williams is one player he plays on the wing, and all of a sudden he's being linked with Arsenal. I can tell you that the people that I talk to are all saying that there's at this stage there's not anything like further ahead than what we're talking about, the ones earlier, like we're talking about Zubimendi and Gyökeres, but good player. I think the Neto ship sailed now, to be honest with you, after his sadly after his new injury that's probably going to keep him out for the rest of the season.
It's the third one. It's the third one. You can't go for a player like that.
Can't go for that. No, I think if you. I know most fans love him. Arsenal fans love him. Arteta loves him. He's greatly admired at Arsenal. But I think you could easily read into like the Edu and Arteta's head, and sort of thinking, we can't.
They won't back off from that one. 100%.
Yeah, they'll back off. Yeah.
I agree. That is all we have time for. Currently 525 people watching the show. Appreciate that. Some big numbers for us. We're a very small channel. A lot of support in the comment section tonight as well. Absolutely buzzing for that. Love that. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined in and got involved. All is a big part of the show. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve and Melvin.
Pleasure, mate.
Pleasure. As always, thanks very much for inviting us on. Thank you. All right, we've got a couple of weeks off of Arsenal, but don't worry, we will be here on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. You can also join us every Monday for the Super 6 podcast, where we cheat a little bit because we have teams in there that are not in the Super 6 or not in the top 6 as well, just because we feel sorry for them and they're the big 6. But we'll be getting some Aston Villa fans on there as well, getting involved in the running for that top 4 position. Make sure you join us for every match day. Make sure you join us for the post-match reactions. Make sure you join us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock and every Monday at 8 o'clock. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.